Hello, welcome back. Matt Osborne here from MrLeica.com.
This is a quick kind of warning video on what not to do with your Leica M film camera. Just a quick unplanned video. I developed some film from my Leica M3 last night and I noticed there's some light leaks on the negatives. I can bring the negatives up to show you. This is a scan of the negative slide holder. This is normally a bad sign. I'd expect it on some of these, say, cheaper older cameras that I found on eBay, maybe an old Contax or an old Kiev or an old Leica 3 Barnett camera. I had a similar issue with the Leica 1C. Feel free to see that video, but this is slightly different. The difference with this is kind of a tried and tested, CLA'd, very well used Leica M3 and not something I found on eBay. This is something I've had for quite a few years, so I know it works. So when I suddenly saw light leaks, I'm like, this is a bad sign. So let me show you the problem. So an easy way to test this is to get a torch or a bike light. You take the lens off. This is the setup that I was using, so feel free to subscribe to see a review of this lens. I was shooting this lens to do some sample photos for the review that is to follow, but some of them have got light leaks. Luckily that some of the light leaks actually make quite nice pictures, but that's not the point. So can you see the problem? Even looking at it as easily as this from the front without a torch, there is a hole in the shutter. When I had the problem on the Leica 1C, it wasn't that easy, so what I had to do was open the back up and then you shine a light. Look at that disaster. I'm just going to turn the light off. That is the problem we have, and this is why we have a light leak. Okay, so the question you may have is, how did I get a hole in the shutter? It's probably very simple if you ever played with a magnifying glass as a child. If you leave a lens on the camera body and then leave it pointing at the sun, it acts as kind of a magnifying glass, so it concentrates the beam of light into a tiny spot and then burns a hole straight through your shutter curtain. I just wanted to record this as kind of a quick reminder to all Leica M shooters that these cameras do have cloth shutters. So even though I've shot M bodies for I think 7-8 years, since 2013 when I set up the MrLeica.com blog, I've never managed to do that before and I've never really thought about it. I knew it could happen, but I've just never really crossed my mind. I think because I live in the UK, it's never crossed my mind basically. So it's not until it actually happens. It's like one of those things, it's not until it happens to you that you kind of take note. So I just wanted to kind of save you guys from having the same problem. How do you avoid this happening to you? Obviously you just keep the Leica M camera out of the sun, or you keep a lens cap on your lens. I tend not to use lens caps, so I'm surprised it hasn't happened to me sooner, but in future I will be more careful. I guess one note, if you're a regular watcher of this channel, if you saw my recent video on the best Voigtlander Bessa cameras, one advantage of Bessa cameras is they have metal shutters, so you cannot have this problem with the Voigtlander Bessa. This issue is obviously only going to happen to any camera with a cloth shutter. So it doesn't need to be like an M camera, it can be any camera with a cloth shutter. And just to finish, here are some photos shot with the Leica M3 with the pinhole burn in the shutter curtain. You can see in this first example, if you're pointing the camera away from the sun, just by chance, which I had the sun behind me, you can see more clearly the defined kind of hole in the shutter, and where I've moved the camera from top to bottom, it's kind of drawn a line of light. So that's how it looks with the sun behind you. If you have the sun more towards you, you get more flare, as seen in these examples, where you can still see some of the photo, and actually it can add quite a nice effect. Obviously I'm not suggesting you burn a hole in your beloved Leica camera shutter just to make some nice flare photos. And then to finish, this is kind of worst case, so this is me shooting at the sun, so now the light's coming through the hole as I showed you with the bike light, and it really is kind of bleaching out most of the photo, so you really can't see much at all. That's all I have for you today. Now I need to get this camera fixed. I think I'm going to try using the like rubber pen that I've seen, but feel free to comment below on what you think is the best solution for kind of fixing a hole of this size. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and feel free to share the video with fellow Leica shooters so they don't suffer from the same problem that I had. As always, thank you to my patrons and see you in the next video. Bye. PS, if you're still listening, sorry if the audio quality is different to normal. The camera's rejecting my normal microphone, so it's just using this standard in-camera microphone.